evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of No F's Given. The title is self explanatory. And as always, this and other podcasts, in the Jazzy Groove Rainy Day podcast family are brought to you by the power of five. If you like what we're doing, consider supporting the channel and at the very least, hit the like button. It really goes a long way. And with that front end stuff finally out of the way, let's dive into today's topic, which is unaccountability in action. I honestly think, and this is hand on heart, but I honestly think that women today just don't know anything. They just don't know. And I don't know if it's their fault or not, but it's just crazy. What do I mean by that? For proper context and to really flesh out what I'm about to talk about, we're going to visit our friends Brian and Andrew and the Whatever podcast. Shout out to those guys over there. And the panel of girls that they're going to talk about. And they're talking about logical consistency. Before we even get started, I'm going to go on record by saying that there is not a sane woman in the bunch. And one of those women are over 30. I'll let you decide which one it is. But they are off their rockers. So let's see what they're talking about. Is this the right one? Is this the right one? That's better. Let's continue.
From what parts of the brain they're coming from. If it is a medical thing, then they should get the help that they need.
So, what about anorexia?
Now, for proper context,
We're not billionaires.
Right.
That was my answer.
Parents, cousins, etc., etc. Just to be clear, are you prepared to say that like 50% of your male relatives, whether parent, grandparent, whatever, cousins, they are potential rapists? You're gonna say that about your own family.
Yeah, because
So you go to like the family cookout and be like,
uh,
like essayers, they're rapists, they're predators.
I don't really talk to like half of my family.
Okay, well, your two brothers then. One of them, you're gonna have to throw under the bus here. Which one do you think is more likely to be a rapist? Well, according to your own statistics, one of them would be.
here we go.
I mean, that's what the
Are we
Nazi.
talking about ethnicity? Like, yeah, you're born.
Now, again, I'm sorry about that. Trying to find out where we were and doing all that good stuff. But for proper context, Andrew asked the question if he identified as being black, would they think it's okay? Now let's and he then said, okay, well then, if a woman identified as anorexic, would you tell her that she's wrong? And we're gonna go from there.
That's what Nazis believe, right? That there's
Okay. Race is a social construct that was invented by white people in, I believe, the 1600s as a way of getting a leg up on the other ethnicities of people. Whiteness wasn't a thing till they made it so. And they made it so they can perceive themselves as better than those people who are darker than blue. That is not an opinion. That is scientific, documented, incontrovertible fact. Now, I'll give bonus points to anyone on the panel, anyone watching this, I should say, that could tell which girl on the panel is the over 30. I'll give it a minute. Okay, with this being chair 1 and this being chair 7, put in the chat which number you think it is. And we'll get back to it.
I feel like I don't know enough about this topic for me to state.
And that's her answer for everything. Rather than to just say, I don't know, it's always, I'm not qualified to answer that. I don't know enough. This, that, and the other thing. You just don't know. That's just a really fancy way of saying it. Speak plainly. You don't know. And there's nothing wrong in that. You just don't know. Edie McClure said it best. I'm not aware of too many things. I know what I know if you know what I mean. I know what I know. And what I don't know, I don't know. But you're never going to learn anything if you close off your brain the way you women on this panel have. Unaccountability. If it doesn't jive with your worldview, it can't possibly be right, even when it is. Let's continue. And you know what's really funny about this? She snaps her fingers. The dude low-key dissed her. And she's snapping her fingers. Chair 1 isn't trolling. She's just low IQ. He's calling you a dipshit. And you're snapping your fingers in agreement. That goes beyond unaccountable. That goes beyond disagreeableness. That goes beyond feminism. That is stupid. Plain and simple. He called you dumber than a box of rocks, and you're saying, yes, you're right. And then you wonder why people have wanted you kicked off for the past, 3.5, 4 hours now? And I wish I was making this stuff up because then I would say, no, I'm only kidding. This is the real. No. She is as dumb as a box of rocks. She's dumber than a box of rocks. And she's an OF star to boot. So you know beyond a shadow of a doubt how this is going to end. And the only thing I have on this whole podcast is that once again, Brian started to show some spine and then backed off. That's why people come on this podcast and say the things they say and do the things they do, because you got to really, excuse me, you have to really push his buttons for him to ask you to leave. And then he'll ask you to leave. If this was my podcast and I had someone like her on it, she'd have been going 3.5 hours ago. Because that also sends a message to the other girls in the panel. Don't be like her, or we'll ask you to leave too. Now, granted, there has to be an element of entertainment to these things, so you just can't get them to leave right off the bat. But there has to be a point on the show and in your head when you can no longer put up with the tomfoolery. She's been called a troll numerous occasions by the host. Yet she still sits here being stupid. I ask you, to what end? Let's get back to it.
I do appreciate it. Andrew, go ahead. You were about to.
Yeah, so look, I'm not going to beat you up about it. I'm just showing you that it's inconsistent either way. So if race is a social construction, just like gender, then you should be able to change your race because it's a social construct. However, if it's immutable, just like sex, then there's no reason for us to believe that you can change whatever your expression of the sex is either. So either way, it's inconsistent both ways. If I can't change, if you can change gender as a social construct, you could say, wait a second, you can't become the thing you're not. I don't know why I can't do that with race. That makes no sense. That.
And to put this whole thing in proper context, it all started because they were talking about trans people. It is what it is. They're talking about trans people. And I, for the life of me, can't understand why people are the way they are. They do what they want. They say what they want. Today, I want to be a girl. But you're not. I feel like a woman. But you're not. I feel like a toaster. But you're not. When does it stop? Full disclosure, I have no dog in this fight. I have no horse in this race. I don't care. Do what you want as long as it's over there. When you bring it over here, you've got a problem. And I'm just going to call it a problem because I'm going to be like, I identify as a she, but yeah, but you look like a he. I caught you in the men's bathroom wearing a skirt and fishnet stockings, standing up while peeing. That's a guy. I don't care what you present to the outside world. You're a guy. Because that's how your plumbing is routed. Let's get back to it.
That literally is inconsistent. It's bizarre. Makes no sense. I should be able to do that. It's just a social construct. It's not, and it's immutable. it's just not a tenable position.
My view is that trans rights are human rights, and you can be whoever the hell you want to be, and you can believe whatever the hell you want to believe.
Then I can be black, right?
You know, I don't care what side of the fence you're on this side. He's got a point. If you believe that you can be whatever you want to believe, and he wants to be black, then hell, he's black. And if he's not, then why do you consider a guy that presents to be a girl a girl? And you be the first one to complain because those same transgender guys, as are kicking your asses in sports. Don't complain. You can't have it both ways. If he's a guy walking down the street, but identifies as a girl, a girl, when he's doing anything historically and biologically, and you can't have it both ways. He either is or he isn't. And something else I was said earlier in the podcast that I was thinking about that I hadn't thought about till recently, as in the last 10 minutes ago. Back in the day when society as a whole frowned on homosexuality and kept them in the closet, you didn't have half of people unaliving themselves. I'm not saying that they didn't, and it's a shame that they do. Because I'm of the camp, you don't bother me, I don't bother you. If we got to do something, I want you there too. Just because you present as a girl doesn't mean you can't do it. Because the same person that'll sit there and say, I can't go to war because I'm a woman, will sit there and happily smoke ass playing tennis. 6'love, 6'love, 6'love. The very same person. Let's get back to it.
I'm sorry.
You don't know. I thought everyone could be whatever the hell they want to be, but I can't be black.
Again, I feel like those two things are not comparable.
They're not comparable because it doesn't fit your worldview. You can't see it. Doesn't mean it's not there. Doesn't mean it can't be possible. You simply don't want to see it, and you don't want to see it. He's right. If a guy tells you he's a girl and you say, you go ahead, girl, you go ahead, queen, then the next guy that comes by says, I'm gonna be black, you say, more power to you, peace. Peace to you, my brother. Right? Or does it only work one way? And that's what I'm beginning to think. It only works when it benefits the woman. But I've also shown you when it doesn't. And they will talk about that part. They talk about the good. They don't talk about the bad. Earlier, they went through the whole man versus bear thing. And the biggest argument was they don't trust men. And this one girl had a stat saying she believes it was like 50% of guys were SAer if given a chance. And Brian said, well, then, do you have many brothers? She said, yeah, I got two. She said, then, according to your statistics, one of your brothers would be willing to rape you. Which one is it? See what I mean? When hit with that type of logic, women do one of two things. They either shut up or double down. She is doubling down. She shut up. And if you said this one is over 30, you were right.
If there was a way of people being able to change their race this day and age, I'm pretty sure they would be doing it.
That's not the point. That most certainly is not the point. And just FYI, no, they wouldn't. Chris Rock said it the best at his Bigger Black comedy show. A white waiter wouldn't trade places with him, and he's rich. There's a reason for that. So no, you get no cookie, you get no prize, you're dead wrong.
It just, it's a thing. Like, people are identifying as toasters these days, do you know what I mean? Like, if you could change your race, I'm sure there would be some people out there that would like to do that, you know?
Scott Bobble donated $200. Didn't she say she dated a man making 500K? Talking about corner one, corner right.
Wait, what? What did that have to do with anything?
I think she was saying in high school she dated a guy who was a millionaire or something. Something
He had
like that.
money in his family. They were a $1 million family, multi-million-dollar family.
I mean, that doesn't really translate necessarily to his.
His bank account had over $1 million in it.
Kay donated $200. Approximately 1% of the population has schizophrenia, and at least half of those have delusions, such paranoid or grandiose. Should we support them in their delusions? Because it's how they truly feel.
So you can.
Great question. Spoiler alert. She's not going to answer. Let's see what she says.
See on a brain scan, and you can see where those hallucinations are coming from and what parts of the brain they're coming from. If it is a medical thing, then they should get the help that they need.
Hey, stupid. That wasn't the question. Not in the slightest. I have yet to see anyone on this panel answer a question as it was put to them the first time around. I feel like you feel like shit. How about that? You're not answering any questions. I don't know why any of you are even here. At this point, I'd have pulled a Myron and kicked them all out. Just go. Just leave, please. Just leave. Because you're not bringing anything of any substance or value to the conversation. And again, I know that one of the reasons why shows like this are popular is for the entertainment value, but there comes a time where the hell with that. My head hurts. And I'm reacting to it. My head hurts. And I'm reacting to it. There kind of come a time where we go, okay, that's enough. I've had enough of you all. All you got to go. Every last one of you. Sisterhood be damned.
So, what about anorexia?
Sorry, what?
Anorexia is a very common delusion. can't determine in the brain where it comes from. It's a social disorder, right? But it's clearly classified as a delusion.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but
Why
body
is it?
dysmorphia
You know,
can be seen in
why is it
brain
okay?
scans.
So anyway, I'd like to finish
Anorexia
answering
and
or
body
asking the question, then you can answer it.
dysmorphia are two very, very different things.
Absolutely.
One is incredibly dangerous and can kill you, and the other one is just in your mind.
Both are incredibly dangerous and can kill you. We've already
Yeah.
established that because you claimed that the unalivement rate of self-unalivement by one is extremely high. So it sounds like that can kill you too. It sounds like it's a really bad social behavior reinforced, just
You know
like
what kills
anorexia.
people? Not being accepted. That's what kills people. What kills people is the feeling
Well, yeah, so we
that
should accept anorexics.
I find no flaw in his logic. Checkmate. We don't accept anorexia. It's bad. It could kill you. So could being a trans person. Why is one shunned and the other not? And don't even get me started about people who are religious, because you can't be with this type of worldview. This is secular. What would my answer be to people who are trans that wanted to be part of my religion if I decided to have one? You can be you can do that, or you can come worship with us. You cannot do both. So if you can't do it, have a great life, and I'll see you on Judgment Day. And if you can, well, this is what I need you to do. I need you to stop doing what you're doing and follow me down this path. Like I said, I have no horse in this race. I honestly don't care what is done or what isn't done. Do what you want. I don't care. As long as you do it over there. Because we don't roll with that stuff over here. And again, we're not going to do anything to you for it. We're simply going to tell you, hey, not here. Take that across the street.
Sorry? I'm sorry, I cut you off.
We should accept anorexia.
No, because that's an immediate. That's a completely different thing. You know.
That's a horrific
Eating
disease.
disorder.
It's not a disease, you brainless twit. It's not a disease. It's an affliction, yes. Is it a disease? No. Look at her. She's thinking and her head hurts. You can almost make the smoke coming out of her ears. Unfreaking believable.
Are gnarly. Like they are super gnarly. And I think I can speak for majority of women when I say that you've woken up, you've looked in the mirror, and you haven't felt great that day. That's body dysmorphia. Anorexia is something completely different.
No, it's not. Not when you look at it for what it is. Now, I'm sure you can get into the nuances and explain it and break it down in terms that most people probably would understand. But if you wake up hating yourself because you think you're fat and you're not. That's not a disease. Sorry, not sorry.
It is a completely different.
So you think that unhealthy behavior should be stigmatized? Like anorexia, we should stigmatize it. Like we shouldn't be telling girls they should be anorexic because it leads to bad results for them.
Yeah, no, you shouldn't tell a girl that she should starve
Why am I
herself.
going to tell girls or men that they should become women if it leads to bad results for them? Like it seems like
The defense rests. The prosecution rests. Court is adjourned. Because you shouldn't. We do in today's society because it's socially acceptable to do so, but we shouldn't. And in your heart of hearts, you know this to be true, but you won't say it because it doesn't vibe with the sisterhood, which is something that needs to be reined in. Because the sisterhood is going to kill somebody. If it hasn't done so already. And I'm betting it has. Someone's going to roll up on the wrong day with the wrong person, saying the wrong stuff, and they're going to pay for it with their lives. All it takes is one idiot that's having an extremely bad day to come to the wrong conclusions and act on them. And that's what I'm talking about when I talk about no accountability. That's what I'm talking about. This was a long one. This was almost 8 hours, 7 hours, 49 minutes, and 13 seconds worth of required watching. If you really want to know what's going on out there, you may not want to sit through the whole thing. And it is broken down into different segments and parts of it. But overall, you need to listen. You need to watch it. Or if you can't watch it, you need to hear it. Because this will tell you everything that's wrong with today's woman. How it's corrected is different. Not because I don't know, because I do know. The problem is that nobody would actually act on it. I get the, yeah, you're right, and turn around and keep doing what you're doing. Which is the exact same thing as saying you're wrong. You're just not being direct. You're not being truthful about it. Kryptonite. Remember that. Remember that, people. Accountability to women is a kryptonite to Superman. It must be avoided at all costs. Which, excuse me, which means if it goes against your view, vibe with the sisterhood, if you think that something isn't right. For it. Talk around it. Talk through it. Talk about anything else till it goes away. Or until you don't want to hear it anymore, then you go away. And to the guys, don't get too happy because you help make it the way it is. All that princess stuff and sugar and spice and everything nice and princesses and everything else, we help make it. And the reason why it took as fast as it did, because it fit the worldview. Yeah, I am sugar and spice and everything nice. Yeah, I am the prize. I am a princess. You need to get on my program. I don't need to get on yours. I don't need no man. Of everybody at this table, there might be two, maybe three women that will get older and readjust their thinking. But they're going to have to get older first. Because talking to them now is like talking to a wall, except with a wall, at least you know it can't understand you. And with that, thank you one and all for allowing me once again to share my point of view with you. Hit the like button at the very least. Show your support through the power of 5. Like, comment, subscribe, notify, share. Goes a long way. Helps the algorithm push our content out to more people. And as I've said before, maybe, just maybe, someone listens to it, takes the time to digest it, and attempt to implement it in their lives in the hope of a more favorable outcome, and they get it. If that has happened, even just once, it's all worth it. My job is done. And with that being said, this is OBJ saying peace to you all. Be kind to one another. Do better. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.